Hi, guys. Welcome to our podcast, Hertz Stories by HerZWave. We are on a mission to amplify women and women identifying voices in music and tech. And this is our first episode of our podcast series. And we have so much more planned. But for now, I'm so excited to have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Nora Mae. She is an incredible artist who blends sultry jazz with a modern cinematic vibe. Her upcoming album, Finn, dives into love, longing, and vulnerability in a way that's raw, emotional, and really relatable. And on top of that, she's carving her own path as a female artist, all while carrying the legacy of her grandmother, the legendary Eartha Kitt. Today, we are going to talk about her journey, her experiences, and the stories behind her music. Hi, Nora. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. First episode. I'm so honored.
Yes, I'm so excited. So I'm just gonna dive in to my first question real quick. Your music mixes vintage jazz with modern sounds and cinematic vibe. What inspires you on a daily basis, and how does it influence your work?
Mm. Um, I'm so inspired by environment, whether that's the people who are around or where I am. So everything I try and make it, and this is part of my imagination as we all have as creatives and artists. I walk around and really look at life through the lens of like it's a film and we're just living in a film. So wherever I am, it's whether it's the city and the sounds or the people around me, I'm surrounded by so many amazing, talented, lovely human beings, creatives and non-creatives that I think inspire me all the time. And then just consumption of art and media is so inspiring to me. I love consuming other artists' music and films by all sorts of genres of film. And I feel like that's really what inspires me on a day to day. But a lot of it is environment.
Wow, that is amazing. My next question is actually more about just being a female artist. What's been the toughest part of building your career on your own terms? And also, how do you stay true to your creative vision while handling the entire business side?
Yeah. I mean, being a woman is so it's such a it's amazing. It's beautiful and it's also challenging and it's hard. It's all of the things. It's contradictory, but it's so unbelievable. And I think being a woman in this industry really it's a little bit different now, I guess, because there's just much more championing of female voices, but it's always, traditionally being fighting to sort of be heard and be the boss and be in the driver's seat. And I think that one of the things that I have really practiced and gotten better at the more I've known myself as an artist and as a person is how to be the boss because you are also running it as a business. Like you said, this is, you're the CEO and president of your own company when you're an artist. So I like to inspire and also be open to ideas from all sorts of other perspectives, but always trust my own intuition that I know the vision and I know myself well enough now. It takes a long time and going through a lot of stuff to get there, but I feel like I know myself really well now to trust myself. And because I trust myself, I trust being in the driver's seat and having those conversations where I get to be the chief executive and veto and make decisions and guide. And I think that takes a long time as an artist. I feel very fortunate that I've gotten here so young as I have, but I think working with people because I know myself so well and I think I gravitate towards really lovely and amazing people, working with people who have that respect for my vision and who get it, even if they don't always see it themselves, they trust and they know that I've got a plan that they have no problem challenging me and trying to open me up into new perspectives and other ideas, but they're not gonna fight me on when there's something that I am like, no, I'm sure that this is what I want. And I think that that's been a really interesting journey to climb to get to that point because it takes a while. It took a long time of going through sessions and working with people where they tried to sort of manipulate what I would sing or write or how I would present myself or dress or what my aesthetic should be. I think that, yeah, once you know yourself, it's easier to know and weed out the noise to really trust yourself and to trust your intuition and let that be the guide. And then naturally you will surround yourself with people who get it. And once you get people who get it, um, yeah, they trust that you're the right person for the job. They trust you to be the boss. And I think I uh I feel that way now. It took time, but I feel that way now. And also just having the right team really helps. As much as I love doing everything on my own and I have for a long time, having people who have your back and who want to protect you, you can trust who you're working with. You should work with people that you trust and that you like, and I do. But also always having, I've learned from some bad experiences and having bridges burned in the past that having things in writing, sign those producer agreements, talk to people about what your deal is going to be beforehand, get an attorney who will ride for you and protect you and look out for you. And that has been an interesting part of balancing both the business and creative side because I lead so much from creativity and from love and intuition, but I also sometimes need those checks and balances of like, okay, yes, but we have to have all our ducks in the row. We have to have all of our I's dotted and T's crossed, and having people who want what's best for you and who are looking out for you around you and your team and in your circle of your supporters is huge. Family, I'm so lucky that my family is also having come from being with the family that I have who's been in the entertainment industry for a long time, and also just who and their unwavering and undying support for me, want to see the best for me. I feel very lucky to be surrounded by people who I know have my best interests at heart, and that helps tremendously with balancing the business and the creative. So, intuition and having really good people around.
I love this. This is like literally the perfect transition into my next question
Oh,
because
amazing.
my next question is about your grandmother. I was wondering how has embracing her this heritage and her legacy influenced your confidence and artistic identity? Has it influenced your approach to your music and the industry as a woman? That's kind of like the second part of the question.
Yeah, it's a great question. And definitely. I mean, I think that even subconsciously, and there are things that I've realized later on that I didn't even click until sometimes somebody else has even brought it up to me, that have sort of seeped into my bones and my DNA in this industry, that she definitely living, with my grandmother and her influence growing up and just having her in my life and still in her legacy has tremendously influenced how I move through this industry. You have to be so unwaveringly trusting in yourself as she was, like really truly knowing who you are and not being afraid to forge your own path. And whether people like it or not is not your business and also not your job. And I think that that has been a really, both personally and how I deal with business and deal with people, and also as an artist and the kind of music that I create, just knowing the right people will always respond the right way. And if they don't, that's also okay. It opens up dialogue and can help you then prepare for, whatever the next interaction is or whatever the next move is. And I think just not being afraid of potentially not being liked or not being seen is incredibly freeing. It's relieving. It's something that we try and control so much, but we really don't have that much control over at all, how other people react to us as creatives and as people. And so I think letting those things go has dramatically influenced the way that I move through the industry. And also I've seen how the industry has changed and evolved from when she was doing this to now, and there's so many things that I know that she would be so happy about, and things that she would probably still be disappointed in. And it's interesting to have her perspective always in the back of my mind as I look at it and sort of pull back and see the scope of it.
Yeah.
So I always have her guidance sort of even just in the way she would lead by example. There was very often times where she wouldn't have to say anything. It was just the way that she was and the way she conducted herself, and that was really what stuck. And so I think that has been very helpful as I've tried to make my own, plant my own flag in this industry for myself of still pulling so much influence from her, not just as an artist, but also as how she conducted herself with so much grace and elegance, but also, ferocity. She was not afraid of taking a stand, of saying something she didn't agree with, that she didn't like, but she also was so she wasn't closed-minded. She was incredibly open-minded to other perspectives and to having hard conversations, and I think that that has really, really helped how have I'm still practicing and I'm still getting better at it, but how I approach the industry too.
Speaking of staying authentic and confident, would you have any advice to other women trying to do that in the music industry?
So much of it, really so much of all of it obviously just comes from really knowing and learning yourself, and that just comes with time and experience, but I do think that whether you're 22 or 18 or 45 in this industry, how much time, age is but a number, how much time and how much experience that you go through to get to whatever place is irrelevant. It's different for every person. So I think it's just about allowing things to come into your life without having to attach so much control to them, and then letting that teach you what it needs to teach you instead of suppressing it. Don't be afraid to look at your own patterns. It's scary, and look in the mirror and have to confront your demons or any, self-conscious thoughts or negative thoughts that come up. We all have them. It's being human, and we're literally programmed to have them. We are programmed to make ourselves smaller and to second guess ourselves. Go against societal grain is like, a sin that we've been programmed to think. And so it's a lot of deprogramming. And obviously, I think therapy is huge for that. I would recommend everybody anywhere, especially women, especially people in this industry, everywhere, forever, to do a lot of therapy. There are so many people in this industry. There's so much volume of content that we're consuming, and so much competition, obviously. But I think the more that we can embrace, especially as women, that someone else in this industry is not taking your space. There is room for everyone. So you do not have to emulate any other artists. You do not have to emulate anyone else's aesthetic or style. We draw inspiration from each other because we're all amazing and everyone's got their own unique, fantastic skills and styles and mindsets, but we are all individual. And I think that the more that we can not try and compete with each other for fear of scarcity mindset, like there's only so much room for women in this industry, the better off we are to just be ourselves, like make the music you want to make, dress the way you want to dress, because the fans are smart. They can see through, they can sift through when it's not genuine, they can sift through when it's inauthentic. They will know, they will pick up on it. So your fastest way through is just to be you. You will find your fans faster, you will find your community faster, and you will be happier because you will feel more fulfilled and not like you're performing. And I think because societally women have always been taught to, or, expected to be a certain way, and then we look at other people that we want to be like, or we wish that we had those opportunities, so we think I'm going to do that, is usually not the right way to approach it, because we end up wearing other people's skin and not feeling comfortable in it. And you have to learn how to be comfortable in your own skin and embrace it and feel confident bringing that to the table, whether or not you feel that confidence inside. A lot of it is fake it till you make it. And then all of a sudden you start to believe it. Like, it is amazing how psychologically easy it is to trick the mind into feeling something when you give it enough practice. And so you just kind of start faking it till you make it, but make sure that it feels authentic to you.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. There's this like viral video from like years ago where like I think somebody asks Rihanna like how is she have you seen it? Like
I don't
there's like an
know.
interview where somebody asks her like how she stays confident. Basically her answer is that she fakes it, and
Yeah.
it's like so true.
Everybody does. And everyone that we look at and we idealize and think about, oh my God, they are so perfect and their life is amazing and they're such good creatives and their style and they're beautiful and they, exude this confidence. Even they have days where they feel really self-conscious and go through struggles. Everybody does. Nobody gets out scot-free in this life. And I think that the more that we can also remember that like we're all human going through human stuff, we have more perspective to think it's the grass is not always greener on the other side. And so you have to just just accept that like everybody goes through those challenges. Everybody has the internal monologue and that dialogue with themselves that isn't always so positive and cheery, and so it's okay, and we allow those things to come up, and we also can choose not to believe them and to align with them and then just fake it. Half of
Yeah.
it's faking it. Probably more than half.
Yeah, I agree, but I love this answer. It's great. So, my next question is about challenges that you face as a woman being in the music industry. I was wondering what's been the hardest part for you and what changes would you like to see for other women in the industry?
I do think that often when it comes to, I haven't experienced it as much recently because of the people that I now work with. But I think a lot of them when I was coming up in music and working, moved to LA for the first time and was working with a lot of different people, it was a lot of like, "Oh, no, 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 trust me. You should be doing this. Yeah, this is cool. This is what people are gonna like. This is, what's gonna make you seem hot or exciting or mysterious." And if it doesn't feel right, and if it feels like somebody else is telling you that for some, like, here's how we're going to sell you, you do not need to sell yourself for this industry. You shouldn't have to. If you are, it's not going to work and it's not worth it. I think that the hardest challenges that I have faced is not being taken seriously as a creative and as an artist and like a visionary earlier on because I was still so young. And so many people look at that and they think, oh, they equate that as like weakness and not knowing yourself. And people take advantage of that. And especially as a woman, I think in conversations where you're trying to be the boss, when you are the CEO and that, in that driver, you're trying to be in that driver's seat, it's very common for if you're working with a producer, a lawyer, a manager, or whatever, for them to be like, trust me on this. Like, I know what's best. And nobody knows. A lot of people have great insight, and you should take those into account for sure. Get lots of different opinions and then take everything in and still make the decision that feels right for you and that feels aligned for you. And when you're young and when you're new to the industry, and also when people that you're surrounded with think that they know best, and a lot of that is ego. And so it's sifting through that. But it's a very egoic industry. So you deal with a lot of big egos. And if everyone is trying to outperform everyone and be seen as something, just be prepared for you are probably going to come up against strong opinions of what you should be doing and what you should be singing and what you should sound like and how you should present yourself. And it's easy to get swept into that when somebody's like, I promise if you do this, you'll be a star, you'll be a success, I'll give you the
Yeah.
world. And never put your eggs in one basket. Don't trust that anybody is going to make you a star except yourself. And I think that that is an easy thing for people to prey on, especially for young women in this industry, is making them promises and then telling them how they should be so that so that they can control your perception. Nobody knows the right answer. Even the people who think that they know, they don't know the right answer. And some things land and some things don't. Some things work, some things don't. You have to throw stuff at the wall until something sticks. But if you're throwing things at the wall that are not you, and they stick, then you're stuck doing that forever. So you might as well just make sure it's something you like. And I promise it's going to stick when it's meant to. And the people who are going to find it are going to love it and they're going to get it from an authentic place. And you don't have to listen to people who tell you and who try and prey on your vulnerability and youngness or newness or naivete or whatever it is. Um, you can be in the driver's seat. People underestimate women all the time, and especially young women all the time. And there is no better satisfaction and there is no better revenge than just being yourself and getting successful on your own without the noise of it.
This is honestly so, like, inspiring to me because, like,
Oh,
I'm also an
yay.
artist. Well, you know that because we play
Of
together,
course.
but
Yes.
I'm still, like, pursuing my artist projects, like, hearing these things from you is, like, giving me so much hope because, like, I
Oh,
always, like, struggle with, like, all these like, everything that you've mentioned, trying to find confidence and stuff like that, like, it's an ongoing thing for
oh
me
yeah,
that I'm, like, constantly, like, learning to be better at. So,
completely.
hearing that is so refreshing and great, and I love that.
Oh, thank you so much. And it is, it's an ongoing process for everyone. There's no day that you wake up and you're like, oh, I've done it now. I'm done. I'm confident today. I'm done. And now I never have to do it again. There's always going to be evolution to be made in every facet of life as a creative, as a human being, in your confidence, in your patterns, in your cycles, in your inner monologue, all of it. It always is it's a continuous journey for your entire life. There's never a day where you're like, I've done it and we're check and now I'm done. And that's amazing. It's also tiring, but it's just part of the human experience. And you get to a point where you love yourself enough and you feel confident enough in the person that you are, where even going through it consistently forever becomes less of a daunting task.
Yeah, totally. 100%. My next question is kind of like about your upcoming, I guess, like plans. Looking ahead, what new ideas, stories, experiences are you excited to explore in your music? Do you have any plans for the rest of this year or 2026?
Yeah. So, oh my God, so much stuff coming up that I'm very excited about. I mean, this album, which is coming out next year, but the third single is coming out in, I guess, like 3 weeks, 18 days from now, is the third single of the album, which I'm very excited about. It's probably the one that's the scariest one for me to post about because it's definitely the most devastating song on the album, but it's very, very cathartic and really beautiful. I think it's one of my favorite songs I've ever done to date,
Wow.
and I love it very much. It's very special to me. And then this album. So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff. And we're going to break for the holidays because, you know, there's that's when it's holiday music season and a lot of other really crazy albums coming at that time. So I'm breaking for the holidays, taking some time off, taking some time to refresh, and then coming back swinging top of next year and in early part of next year release the album and hopefully a bunch more visual elements with that, which I'm very excited about. But I'm also starting to work on a lot of things more for TV and film and in the sync world, which I'm very excited about because that's always been something that's been such a love of mine is marrying film and television with music. There's just
Uh-huh.
such passions of mine and dealing with film and even like acting and getting back into the creative realm and in the industry in other ways and from other perspectives, which I'm very excited about. And then just more more music after that, you know, it never stops. You write an album, you put out an album, and then you have to work on another. Like you just have to you start doing it again. But
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I love that. I love that part of the process. So I love the creation. So I'm very excited to keep it going. And then just like a lot of travel, I'm starting to work more overseas too, and with other people doing other stuff and writing for some other artists and for other projects that aren't necessarily my artist project, and sometimes they are. But yeah, it's been fun to just do a bunch of stuff. And I started writing a book. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. But you just start doing stuff and see what sticks. Who knows if it'll ever go
That's so
anywhere, but I just
cool.
love thank you. I love flexing the creative muscle in any way, shape, or form. And so I think doing so much with it, whether it's ever for public consumption or just for yourself to continue to build in the craft, to me is nothing is ever wasted that way. So I'm just loving trying to dip my toe into every part of this industry and beyond, you know, outside of the industry too, and learn and pick up on new skills because I think it makes us all better artists
Yeah.
and better people.
What kind of book are you writing?
It's a literary fiction. It's a story about about an actress who basically kind of goes through some public scrutiny and takes some time off and isn't sure about her return to acting or what that would look like or the industry at all, and takes some time off and ends up meeting some people along the way. And it's the story of sort of how those stories mirror each other and inspire each other almost as like muses of different elements, and then
Wow.
I have to figure out where exactly I want it to go in the ending, but I'm excited.
That's so sick. I love that. I'm gonna be looking out for this and, like, your album.
Yeah.
I have one more
In
question.
like 10 years, my book maybe will be on the shelf.
Well, I have one more question, and it is, what advice would you tell your 15-year-old self knowing all that you know at this moment?
Oh my God. My poor 15-year-old self. She was so unsure and probably scared. Everything feels so big when you're 15. And I
Yeah.
would probably just tell her, like, none of it's that big. It feels so big right now. I promise you're going to look back at this time. And I know you're not going to believe me right now if I say this because it takes the experiencing it to know, but you're going to look back at this time and laugh at the things that you thought were like the ends of the world or that were the biggest heartbreaks of your life or biggest challenges you'd ever face and be astonished at what you've accomplished in that time in the last 15 years because I'm 30 now, so it's that would be the halfway mark of my life, and I'd say you have no clue what you're going to do in the next 15 years, and you would never even believe how your wildest dreams that you thought were a light year away are are not anymore. Just don't sweat the small stuff so much. It feels so big, but just embrace it. Don't try and control it. Surrender. I would probably tell my 15-year-old self ultimately surrender. Just surrender. Just know that you cannot control everything. You cannot control how other people feel and what they think, and stop chasing emotionally unavailable partners. And,
Oh my god, I feel that.
and,
Yeah.
yeah, and that you don't have to rush. Like, be young and just love being young, which I really did. I loved being a kid, but love it, like really live it and love it because life goes so fast. Time moves so
Mhm.
quickly. And don't take anything for granted. You know, money will always come back, time won't. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So just like go live and do it all and be scared and do it anyway. That's probably what I would tell my 15-year-old self.
I love this. Have, like,
Amazing.
a bunch of, like, super quick questions. Which woman in music or life inspires you the most right now?
Mm. I mean, I'll say because it's her album actually just came out and I think it's so spectacular and I love this woman as an artist and as a human being. I think that the new Olivia Dean album and her music is fantastic. I love how much she also sort of embraces this vintage feel but brings it really modern and it does feel very authentic to her. I love her. I love her songwriting. I love her voice. She is the most ethereal performer I think I've seen in the last several years and I think her album is an incredible masterclass of love and heartbreak all in one. And I feel it so deeply when I listen to it. So I feel incredibly inspired by her right now.
I need to listen to it. I saw somebody
Oh, it's
share
so good.
something about it. I need
It's
to do
so
that.
good.
What's your favorite album or song of all time?
All time. Wow. Oh God, there are so many.
I know. I don't know if I would be able to answer that, to
I
be
yeah,
honest.
I mean, some of my favorites of all time. I guess I know that there's some like Alicia Keys song. Probably like No One by Alicia Keys is one of my favorites. There's got to be an Adele song that's one of my favorites. Probably like Hometown Glory is one of my favorite Adele songs. But like Beast of Burden by the Rolling Stones is one of my favorite songs ever. Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen or Spirit of the Night by Bruce Springsteen is one of my favorite songs. But of the last couple years, I would say I love the new Somber album. I think he's fantastic. I really also think and he's so young to know himself so well as an artist. Oh my God. And and he wrote the entire album on his own. I'm blown away by his talent. Obviously, the Olivia Dean album I think is incredible. I mean, I love like Billie Eilish is amazing. I thought her album was fantastic. That came out I guess that was a couple years ago now. There are so many. James Blake is one of my favorite artists to ever exist, so
I
that's
love
gotta
James
be one
Blake.
of them. I think that potentially, I mean, Retrograde by James Blake is probably one of my favorite songs
I
ever.
love that song.
It's one of my
Yes.
favorite songs ever, ever, ever. Maybe I'll Come To as well by him. Oh, and then one of my dearest friends, who is one of my favorite artists ever, DeLacy, has a song that came out on her album a couple years ago called Life is Fucking Beautiful. It's maybe one of my favorite songs ever. Definitely my favorite song of hers. But then she also just had an album that came out this year, which is touring right now. And there's a song on that. Yeah, this is, I think, going to be maybe my answer. There's a song on that album called Bad Things. And there's also a song on that album called Lipstick, but the whole album is amazing. She is an unbelievable artist, and her album is called Crying Over Beauty, and there are so many songs on that album that are unbelievable. But Bad Things is maybe my favorite. Bad Things and Lipstick are probably my two favorite on that album.
Awesome. So now what's your favorite movie? Well, favorite movie that you find inspiring?
Favorite movie that I find inspiring. I'll say one that I've also seen in the last year um, is a movie called My Old Ass, and it was Maisie Stella and Aubrey Plaza. And it's basically the synopsis, without giving anything away, is essentially if you had the opportunity to meet your older self or your younger self, depending on what perspective you look at it through, and if you tried to live your life with the intention to protect your older self from ever experiencing pain or heartbreak, you would miss out on all of the amazing things that happen in between. So earlier, kind of when I was saying to my 15-year-old self of like, feel the fear and do it anyway, it's like, it's okay if it's scary and it's okay if you get hurt, because there's also usually so much of the joy and love and experience and lessons that you learn in doing those things. Even if you do end up getting hurt or you do end up getting heartbroken, it's always worth the risk. So that is a movie that I think has really inspired me, that I've loved in the last year. But favorite movie of all time is probably Good Will Hunting.
Now, when you're not making music, what's your favorite way to relax?
Ooh, I mean, I love to, traveling is sometimes relaxing and sometimes not, but I do love to travel when I'm not making music. And watching movies. I mean, really do. I'm addicted to consuming art visually and watching movies and TV. But I love being outside. I love going on hikes and walks with my dog. I hang out with my dog a lot. She's over there yelling at me. And yeah, spending time with the people that I love, honestly, there's nothing that beats it. I could be doing nothing with them on the couch or sitting outside or going for a walk and just having good conversation and belly laughs and giggles, and going from being really silly and stupid to having like a very in-depth emotional conversation. And that to me is the most worthwhile moments of life.
If you could perform a duet with any artist, living or dead, who would it be?
Oh God. Living or dead? I mean, like Elvis or Johnny Cash would have been so cool. Uh, I mean, even like Mick Jagger would be a dream. That would be the coolest thing in the world. Maybe Billy Joel. Maybe Billy Joel. He would be a big one too.
Okay, that's great. And then the final one, what's one piece of advice you've received that really stuck with you?
There are so many things that have stuck with me over many conversations with many people over many years. But I think that the thing that sort of my compass that I live by is not so much a piece of advice, but a story that I heard on a podcast over the last year that I think has truly like changed the course of my life. And it was a recounting of this person having an experience talking to their grandmother who was on their deathbed. And the last words that she said to them, or right before she passed, whether this is dramatized or not is none of my business because I like it this way. The last words that she said before she passed were, God, I had so much fun. And if those are my last words that I say, I will have lived a life of complete and utter fulfillment and satisfaction. And it's supposed to be fun. And there are a lot of things that aren't. And it's not to say that we shouldn't look at the real stuff that is hard and that is unfair and unjust. But on a day-to-day, happiness is a choice, and we can choose to make it every day or not. And I think it should be a choice that we make every day to choose happiness. And I try and live by that. If it doesn't bring you joy, not that everything has to be happy all the time, but if it doesn't bring you joy, if the people you surround yourself don't bring you joy, if what you're doing doesn't bring you joy, you can always choose to change it. And why wouldn't you? Because no day is guaranteed. Something could happen tomorrow. Life is short. None of us get out of here alive. Might as well make the best of it.
I love this. This is the perfect note to like end it on. Thank you so much. This was truly inspiring and like
Oh,
me personally as an artist. So thank you.
thank you. Thank you for having me. What a joy. I love these questions. I love interviews like this that make me really think and have to take stock of my own life and career and yeah, it is really special. So thank you so much.
Thank you.